Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome to another fun Echo Means Business IGTV Live. I'll give everybody a couple minutes to hop in here, but thanks again for everybody for joining us for another one of these Monday night live streams. We had a great one last week, so we'll give everybody a minute or two to hop in here, and then we'll kick this one off. I think this is the first solo show we're doing, so do something different. It'll be a good time. So while everyone's hopping in here, go ahead, comment, let me know where you're at and how your Monday's going, and what else is shaking. That's great. Oh, I got to see my buddy Kai on here. Extraordinary Detail. Hope you're having an awesome Monday, man. This is great. So thanks to everybody for joining us for this Echo Means Business IGTV Live. And if you're listening to this at a later date on a different platform, thanks for joining us that way. And consider joining us live here on Monday nights. That way you can be a part of the show and comment in the chat. And who knows, eventually, once we do a few more of these, we may start kind of getting into some rapid fire and bringing people that are just kind of quote unquote in the audience on the show, kind of do this like a call-in show type thing. I think that might be fun. But thanks for joining us tonight. Tonight's topic is going to be budgeting for success. There you go. I can't even say the title right. There you go. Budgeting for success. And this is good little chat about this know your numbers thing, which probably gets a little overplayed these days. It's funny how no one was talking about it, and a couple of years ago it got brought up, and it is very important. And then all of a sudden everyone's talking about it. But what does it really mean? And I think a lot of people get it confused. So we're going to dive into that today and discuss that a little bit more. And we're probably going to reference some of the things we talked about in last week's show with my buddy Paul. So if you haven't caught that, I encourage you to go back and listen. Paul provided a wealth of information, as he always does, and always so great to have him on the show, as it is any of our guests. And I guess before we'll hop in, I'll also preview next week's show. It's going to be back to a group format. I'm going to have some of my fellow Echo Means Business User Advisory Group members joining me, and we're going to be talking about some must-haves to help you have a good season, to kind of add on to some of the wonderful things we're going to talk about tonight. So take a minute. I'm going to go through the chat here, say hey to all of you, and then we'll hop in and talk about budgeting for success and the important parts of knowing your numbers. So I see my buddy Edison's in here. We got Tino in here. Oh, Dylan from Brilliant Gardens. I have to reach out to you because we definitely need to get you on here. In fact, you might already be on the schedule. I just haven't reached out to you yet. Oh, the infamous Akron Lawn Care. That reminds me. He won some Echo product on a live stream a couple years back, or as part of a live stream. We did some giveaways, and I guess I'll use that as an opportunity to hint that there may be some giveaways coming up on these live streams. So as if you needed more incentive to join us on a Monday night, there it is. You could possibly win some wonderful product that most likely will come from my dear friends at Echo, and they'll tell you this. They are excited to hear about what I'm going to say tonight because all the products they provide, they're a lot like people view debt. It's this double-edged sword where all their products can make you so much money, but if you do this all incorrectly, they're not going to benefit you, and that's not the point. Echo wants to sell products, but most importantly, they want it to make everyone's life better and easier. And so that's why they've given me the opportunity to share this message with everybody tonight. So Tino says, "What's up, big homie?" Dylan says, Mr. Bedell. We got Matt's Lawn Care on here with a Taco Trap Boys. That's an awesome name. Kai says, you too, buddy. We're going to have to get you on here. I think there's a topic coming up a month or two from now that you'd be great on. So we're going to have to get in touch. Edison says he has the Roni Rona, possibly. That's not so good, buddy. I hope you feel better. That's rough. We got Boxwood Baker, Mike's Landscaping, APA Lawn Care Solutions in the house, GTG Mowing and Landscaping. We got Alex Carey, my man. You're also in the queue to come on and join us because you have much to say, and I think a lot of people can learn from a lot of the things that you do right on a daily basis. Oh, we got a cut above lawn care. I think WV says that West Virginia. You'll have to let me know. That's great. I'm so glad you joined us. We got Lamont Harrison from Harrison Property Management who says, what up, doe? Uncle Alan's Yard, Fast, Slow, and Square, Hedge Turner's Lawn. Oh, that's awesome. We got Pablo from the Black Sheep Lawn on here. That is awesome. He's you're gonna see some fun stuff with Pablo's face on it, and I'll leave it at that. But he's about to be like famous. We're all hoping Pablo remembers us, little people, when he's out there, all over everything, everywhere. And I'll leave it at that. Lamont, yes, I do owe you a message back. I actually just got to listen to that. So, yes, I'll have to give you a call over the next couple days because I owe you a call back and I want to catch up, man. It's been far too long. It's crazy how the season flies by. Dylan says, oh boy, can the crowd handle the two of us together in one show? Well, they better because there's going to be even more people than us for that show, so... Hedge Hunter's Lawn says great stuff. Kai says he's game. We got Phil from Canada. Oh man, we've got to get him in here. He just dealt with a crazy ice storm, man. I hope him and all his friends and family are kind of getting back to normal. We had like a fraction of that here in Southeast Michigan, and that was no bueno. In fact, to be honest, there's still branches to clean up, not a ton of branches, but there's still some like broken limbs up in trees that I've got to get a lift and get cleaned up here. It's so I can only imagine, Phil, you're probably busier than you could ever imagine, but I hope all that's going really well for you. Alex Carey says, hey Mike, just finishing up mulching, be able to jump on in a few. Oh man, well you're the man. Keep working away. Phil says we Gucci. That's great, man. I'm glad you're doing well. So we'll hop in. Today's topic is budgeting for success. And as many of you know, I'm a big advocate of budgeting. But, I'm not just going to sit here today and tell you need to have a budget. We're going to talk a little bit about maybe why, because I think a lot of people don't really understand why that might be important. So, as we discussed, a lot of people like to throw around this term of knowing your numbers. And then there's all these different resources or calculators or guides, and those can be helpful, but not always. And so here's what I want to share with you. And we're going to take this back to when I started out. A long time ago, back when I had all my hair and none of it was gray, probably didn't even have any facial hair. And I was a 14-year-old kid, and my dad really wanted me to have a summer job. And in the state of Michigan, you have to be a little older than like 14 years old and a handful of days to get a summer job. I think it might have changed, but I think it was like 14 and 9 months. And so much to my dad's disappointment, the local grocery store and nursery and other places would be happy to give me an application, but they weren't really going to do anything for the summer months. So my dad was about to strike out on this whole idea of me getting a summer job. And so he was bemoaning this to our next door neighbor. And he offered up that, I'm paying, it was some round number, like $30 or $35 for his lawn mowing service. And he noticed that I cut my parents' lawn, and he said, Mike wanted to mow my lawn for that price. I would I would entertain that. That'd be great. Maybe this would give him a quote unquote summer job, even though I think my dad was looking for me to do a little bit more working than that. But my dad informed me that that's what I would be doing. And so I want to start there because that worked out fine because I was 14 and I was using my dad's mower and his gas. And I was pushing the mower probably like 250 feet to the dear neighbor's yard. And that was kind of where that began and ends. So it was I thought this was how the world worked, right? Like, oh, everything's there. You just make the money, no big deal. Life goes on. But that's not how the real world works. And so if you're a younger guy and you have that opportunity, then this is probably resonating with you. But, it doesn't work like that when you get in the real world. And, of course, it didn't matter to me at the time because I was 14. And, but I eventually grew up and I had to realize this isn't how this works. And, being an 18, 19-year-old kid will certainly help do that. By then I had a car and was paying insurance and gas and was starting to get that healthy dose of what the real world is. And so I want to start by sharing that story because there are times where it's okay for people to say, well, I'm paying X. Can you do it for that? And maybe it's $30, maybe it's $300, maybe it's a big maintenance contract that's $300,000. It's, a lot of conversations are had that way. And for me, and where I sit now, to fast forward into the future, it's a fine qualifying thing. People are essentially showing you all their cards and letting you know kind of what they're looking for price-wise. But here's the most important part, and I hope that you guys, if you don't listen to anything else, you listen to this. Statistically, 4 out of 5 businesses fail. And so if you're counting on using other people's numbers to run your business, you have a 20% chance of surviving. And so that's why me and other people have been such big advocates the entire time of this real know your numbers business, which changes all the time. And it's difficult, and you have to stay on top of it. And it's not easy, and it's easy to forget about it. It's not as apparent. It's not going to call you and ask when its mulch is going to get done, which we're all dealing with this time of year. So this is like the not sexy part of running a business. It doesn't show up well on Instagram. Typically, the type of content that is done with these type of discussions gets the least amount of views. I mean, I could just see, we're doing this live. This isn't going to be our highest viewed show, and that's totally fine. I think that this is maybe one that's simmers long term and gets maybe more views and listens long term than it does initially, because this is where the rubber meets the road. So Pablo says, show us your formula. Well, I'm glad you asked, because that's what we're going to get into here. So whether it's an investment outside of your business or maybe just running our businesses every day, you want to put the statistics in your favor. So getting away from a 20% success rate is what I'm going to try and do all day long. I typically won't touch anything, even outside of the business world, investment-wise, that I don't already have a 60 to 70% success rate virtually locked in. And in the real business world, I mean, a lot of us, we work outside for a living, right? So today here in Michigan, it snowed. It didn't really stick, but last week, beautiful working conditions, 70, 80 degrees. Today, like 34 and rain, snow mix. We don't control that. So there's always variables, but we want to try and limit those variables. And one of the greatest ways to do that is to actually understand what your numbers are, not what other people's numbers are. It's great to know what other people might be doing it for, in the sense that you can qualify whether you even want to entertain that project, i.e. if you were probably thinking it's going to be a $100 lawn cut and they think the last guy was doing it for $50, you probably shouldn't do it for $50. If the gap is that big, it's not going to be a good fit for you. So you want to try and put the statistics in your favor and stop essentially bidding blind and say, oh yeah, I can match their price, I can do it for that. Because once again, unless you're using your dad's mower and pushing it 200 feet, the likelihood that you're going to have 80, 90, 100% profit margin on that isn't very good. And so, this is the type of stuff that helps turn your dream into a reality. So Pablo asks, so what do I do? What I do is I have a budget set up, and it starts with my expenses, and it's broken out by line item. And if you want to see exactly what it is, I actually have it for free over at debtfreelandscaper.com. Shameless plug there. And I know actually we're going to be relaunching echomeansbusiness.com here, and I think there's going to be a version of it there as well, because this is real important stuff, and it's a free download. It's an Excel document, and it's line item by line. It's your advertising, it's bank charges, dues and subscriptions, equipment fuel, insurance costs. It goes on and on and on, line item by line item. And you just go through and nitpick that and fill it in. You figure out what it actually costs you to do business every single day and every single hour. And if you got a bunch of guys, then how you got to divide that by man hour. And so before I figure out, what am I going to charge, I got to know how much I'm spending. I saw someone said in here earlier, you got to spend money to make money. And you're absolutely right. And so that's why you have to have a written plan of how you're going to spend your money. And then based on that, you can come up with your formula for what you need to charge. What do you need to make a day? What do you need to make an hour? And what your daily burn rate is for a day like today, where, here in Michigan, it snowed. Not a lot of maintenance work really got done. And so it's not sexy. It's not very fun. But you go through and figure out what those costs are on a month-by-month basis. And then you can figure out a plan of how you're going to come up with enough revenue to achieve that, plus profit for you, plus profit for your business, plus profit for your business to grow. And it sounds like a lot, but it's really not. It's this is the secret that all the big successful companies that, if you ever get to invest in the stock market one day, in theory, most of them are doing, if we ignore the some of them made some questionable decisions over the next couple of years, and we'll see if the bubble pops and they get called out on it, or if everybody's too big to fail now and we all just get bailed out. That might happen too, but we don't get that type of luxury here as small business owners. And so in theory, we all have to be profitable, and in their world, it's called earnings per share. We don't have to deal with any of that. But what we do have to deal with is the fact that this is our meal ticket. And I see a lot of people out there, they don't even realize how much they're giving it away. Or there was somebody that reached out to me this past week, and they said, like, hey, I'm doing this complex and I'm charging like X number of dollars per door. Like, what do you think? And I said, I have no idea. Like, I don't know if that's a good number for you or not, because I don't know how much it costs this guy to do business every day. His number didn't seem like terribly low or terribly high. It wasn't like he wanted $1 million per lawn mowing, or he was only charging $10. It wasn't like way off. It was, I think thousands of dollars per service. But, I don't know what his overhead is. I don't know what his production rates are. And so, we haven't even dove into that, what your production rates are, right? That's a whole other level of this. But to even get to that point, you have to know what your current numbers are. And that's how you put the statistics in your favor. Then you know right off the bat when you give someone a price whether it's going to work for you or not. And if they counter with something different, it probably isn't going to work if you were pretty forthright about your pricing. You know, if you bid it way high and have some room to come down, then great. But a lot of people don't do that. And then they give it away. And then we wonder why 4 out of 5 businesses fail. So I highly encourage all of you to not match other people's prices unless that's actually a price that you know you can do work for, because otherwise, statistically, you have an 80% chance of not making money on that job. And that sucks. There's no better way to say it. I want nothing to do with that. In fact, I will avoid that like the plague. A lot of people, especially in 2023, will just stay home anyway. So, if most societies not showing up to like work, why are you going to show up and lose money? That just sounds crazy. So, I encourage you to just sit down and take a minute and best case scenario, you fill out a budget. You want to go above and beyond. There's services like QuickBooks. That's what I use. I use their budgets versus actuals all the time. I'm in that once or twice a day because I can track in real time how I'm doing. And I kind of run my life that way. All my investments are set up that way. It's like I can flick through things and see where I'm at a moment's notice. And I'm very grateful for that. I was just talking with my uncle over the weekend, and he was lamenting how, like, this is a very recent occurrence. They just go back 15, 20 years, and it was like, pencil and paper bank register, and, you had to wait for your bank statement to see if it were off, or if you wanted to buy a stock, you had to call into a broker, and your trade would get placed over the next couple days. And we're so lucky to live in this world of instant buy and sell, and instant send an invoice, and instant swipe the credit card, and money funded to your account right away. We really ought to be taking full advantage of all these luxuries, my friends. This is such a wonderful time for us to grow and be successful, and it's all right there for us. There's never been such an opportunity for people in the service industry. When I started 20 years ago, there was all sorts of companies, and they were cutthroat. Now they're all gone. Like, there's so much work, and there's none of us to do it. So don't give it away. Charge a premium. But beyond that, charge your premium. Know what your numbers are, and that's how you stop giving away the farm. That's how you don't care what other people charge. That's how you fill up your schedule. And you'd be surprised when you get to a certain point in your career, it suddenly isn't so much about the numbers anymore. For me, it's more about getting the work done and keeping my clients happy, because the money's there. I don't have to worry about that part too much anymore. So it's possible. You guys can all do this in your business. I'm really, if you guys all knew me better, you'd probably be a little less impressed. I'm sure you're not anyway, but I'm a real normal guy. I'm like real average, which should give us all something to aspire to. If I can get here and I'm average, mediocre at best, you guys can do this all day long. Trust me. This has never been easier. Never had so many resources at your fingertips, like all the ones I mentioned, and CRMs, and then of course us here at Echo Means Business. Us and even the team at Echo, we're really here for you guys. We want you guys to succeed. That's why we make it a point to do IG TV lives and podcasts and stuff like this, so you guys can listen and learn and connect, and we can all grow as a community. And we want to do more and more of this stuff. I know there'll be some fun opportunities here at Equip 2023, and there may even be a few other things in the works where we can all get together and learn and really help take each other to the next level. So hop into the chat here, see what people are saying, and we'll kind of wrap this one up. I promised my friends at Echo we'd keep these solo episodes a little short. So we'll save the long ones for fun chats like next week, where we've got like I said earlier, some fun friends from the Echo User Advisory Group. So I see we've got let's see. Oh my gosh, you guys have been chatting it up here. This is amazing. We got Eli Baltazar in here. Dylan says, don't numbers turn everyone on business? I think it's just you and me, buddy. Dylan once entertained like going through QuickBooks over breakfast, and that is actually a pretty rare thing. Most people kind of glaze over when that happens. Kai says, glad we are talking about this. He's looking at an aerator as we speak. Yeah, I mean, if it's a profitable tool, then that's great. If not, then allocate that money elsewhere, rent it. There's ways that you can make money, but buying isn't always the right solution. Renting isn't always the right solution. Providing the service isn't always the right solution. A friend said to me a while ago that it's all these different services are just like investing in a different stock or something like that. They're not all going to go up. They might make money, and some of them might make money long term, but they don't make any money now. And so you got to weigh all those things in, because otherwise, you could do other things with that capital right now to make money. And I think that's kind of our end goal here, right, friends, is that we all work really, really, really hard. No one will ever take that away from us. But we want there to be gain at the end so that we can get to our end goal, whatever that is. And that's we talk about why is knowing your numbers such a unique thing. Well, if you don't believe me, I think we're all trying to shoot for a different retirement goal and a different retirement number, and different plans. To get deep with it, that's why the divorce rate is so high, is because a lot of people don't have that later in life conversation, and then kids leave the nest, and now what, right? So, that's why I said this stuff is like every day. It's not very fun. It's not sexy. It's the tough conversations. Pablo says, no. We got JC, the lawn care guy, the traveler himself. I wonder if he's even stateside right now. We got Richie Plemons, another guy who's scheduled for a future show. Creekside Lawn Care, thanks so much for joining. Richie says, too early to be working in the South. Too early, we're still working in the South. Oh, you're still working in the South. Too early for me. Yeah, but it was beautiful last week, man. So productive. JC says, big companies have enough to lose a little. We have a little to lose a lot. Yeah, no, that's well said. It's, they can take those bumps and bruises easier than we can. They have different accesses to money. They have investors. They have inventory, all sorts of things. Small businesses. I once had a CEO of a publicly traded company say to me, because being in prior life, he ran a very small business that was just him and his girlfriend at the time, who ended up being his wife, and a couple employees. And so he knew what it was like to, make less than $1 million a year in a business and not, travel over the world and be publicly traded. And he said to me once, a lot of people don't understand how tight money is for small businesses and how day to day everything is. And, it's not the world he lives in anymore. But he remembers, and gosh, I've really appreciated all the conversations I've had with that individual. In fact, you guys get to reap the benefits of a lot of that. That wise wealth of information just kind of gets transferred on and trickles through. And I'll say this: you've probably seen his face before on like a major news network or this, that, and the other. He's been around a lot for a long time, which is great. Ricky from AJ's Lawn Care, you made it. I was hoping you would. Hope you're doing well, bro. You and Tino are the man, and I've got you guys scheduled for an episode. I got to talk with my friends here. Spring Rush is tough. We're all so busy. All right. Pablo says, do I use Google, Excel, CRM, QuickBooks, something like that? Yeah, I use Jobber for my scheduling, and then QuickBooks online for keeping track of all the payroll, taxes, bookkeeping, budgeting, all that fun stuff. And like I said, it's I can track it all in real time, and it's exactly how I like it. I like to see exactly where the money's coming in and the money's going out, and things are moving and shaking, and that's I remember Paul Jameson from the Green Industry Podcast said once, like, people don't do that, Mike. That's not normal. Like, yeah, they think you might even say, like, that's a little weird or something like that. And I was like, yeah, I'm a little weird. It gives me peace of mind, Paul. Like, I get people don't do this, but yeah, I think most people don't realize how easy it is, and it's a little work on the front end, but otherwise you just, like, it's kind of like boating, right? You got to do all the work to get the boat in the water. Once you're out there, it's great, just cruising. I also don't own a boat, and so I go on other people's boats. So maybe I have a biased opinion. Edison from Country Lawn says, production rate is what's killing me. Working towards more equipment and less men that need the phone glued to them. Yeah, right on. Sometimes I feel like I'm that guy who I want to get the phone away from me so I can get some work done. But it's true. That's why I've moved to more and more equipment over the years. It's the most reliable employee on my team is my equipment. Doesn't show up hungover. It's there every day. Yeah, it's safe and secure. So thankfully, knock on wood, nothing goes missing. And it's I don't disagree with that at all. I think I see it even on the manufacturing side. Like, a lot of the paver companies and stuff are trying to make stuff easier to install with less equipment, because they get that, less people, less equipment. They might sell more product, because otherwise, there's less and less people that are capable of installing things the way they were. And so, you're spot on with all that. We got CG Outdoor Services. Alex Carey says he uses QuickBooks as well. His office personnel and himself love it. We got Don from Stuata Lawn Care in Canada. JC, the lawn care guy, says, a plan is better than no plan. Organization is key. Even if you're losing out, at least with having a plan and documentation, you'll be able to recognize your losses as opposed to not being aware. Well said, sir. I could not agree with that more. That is just wonderful. Absolutely. That's why I like to track it in real time, is because, like, things don't always go well. Sometimes things cost more money, or I gotta make a move, and I know how quick I could do it and where it's going to come from. And that's why, I'm in there looking at it and making adjustments all the time. It's like a lot of other investing type things, as my friends at Tasty Trade say, trade small, trade often. And I think that kind of applies to this, right? You should stay on it often and, try and keep the mistakes small. That's kind of the point of what they're getting at with that saying, is that if you stay on top of it and don't always try and go for the moon and YOLO everything all the time, you end up pretty good over time, because you're working a plan and you're being thoughtful and you're staying on top of when things aren't going your way, versus the set it and forget it works for a George Foreman grill, but not for a business. Definitely not for a business. Don says, normally amazing. JC says, who are you kidding, Mikey? You're a stud. Proud to have you as a friend. Oh, thanks, buddy. You too. I appreciate that. Some days feel like the pigeon. Some days I feel like the statue. You know what I'm saying? Pablo from Black Sheep Lawns is absolutely normal. You got that right, brother. Yeah, we're all just normal guys. My buddy at Akron Lawn Care says, thanks for doing this tonight, Mike. Yeah, absolutely, man. We're gonna have to catch up. It's been way too long. I'll have to give you a phone call over the next week, and maybe if we do one of these rapid fire things on, I'd like to get you on to just give everybody an update, because I think it's been a little while since we talked, but you did a really great job when we chatted last, of how you've set yourself up as like an owner operator to really do very, very well and go do the stuff that other people don't necessarily want to do. And it was a heck of a lot of work, you were telling me, but you were doing really well with it. And I was actually extraordinarily impressed by all of that. So I'd love to get you on here sometime, because I think that everyone's story has a lot of merit, but specifically what you were doing there, I think a lot of people can share and try and replicate that in one way or another. And I think it's to the benefit of everybody, especially as people can't find anybody to get the work done. We need more Akron lawn cares that will just go get it done. I think that's really great. So Black Sheep Lawn, how long does it take you to figure out your numbers? A month, 2, maybe 3? It takes forever, man. That's what yeah, you're going to get a grasp on it, but no one ever 100% knows their numbers. There's always, they're always changing. They're always tweaking. Plus, you don't know what's coming around the corner, what equipment breakdown, just because you have money budgeted, which we do. I have money budgeted every month at my company for equipment repair and maintenance, but sometimes there's a problem with a mower or something, and that monthly amount that I have set aside, I'm gonna have to do 5 of those months in 1 month, and it all averages out probably in the long term. But I would say that it's like anything else. When you start out, it's a lot, and then after a month, you're probably already 80-90% of the way there, and then maybe another month or 2 down the road, you're even closer and closer. And it's also, I think, like any other thing that someone's trying to do with a lot of passion, the more time you spend on it, the more articulate you'll be, the more you'll want to get into it, because you'll have time invested into it, and you'll see the growth and you'll see the change. And I know, for me personally, that's what gets me fired up and going about anything, is when I can actually see viable results and growth. And when I don't see growth or things trending in the right direction in any facet of my life, I'm sometimes maybe too quick, but I'm certainly not too slow to jump on that and make the moves that I have to change things. I guess I'd maybe rather have it that way. I'd rather care too much than too little, whether it's about the people in my life or situations or in this case, the numbers. I like I said earlier, I want to get away from that 4 out of 5 businesses fail and that 20% success rate. It's just bad news bears. It's a lot like just trying to buy a bunch of lottery tickets and expect that that's going to work out for you. Someone's going to win. Maybe it is you, but there was the AMC GameStop movement, where, there was the phrase YOLO call options, where people are just buying a whole bunch of cheap out of the money call options, hoping that, well, if it goes to the moon, I could become a millionaire. But none of those people did. They all lost their money, and then they all bitched about it on the internet. And, that's not, who wants to be that guy, let alone, those people at least probably got to go back to their job and make money. But if this is your job and these are your YOLO call options, and then your mower disappears because of it, this is a real rough look for you, friends. So, don't be that guy. It's, and how do you not be that guy? You do the stuff that no one else wants to do. which is you sit there and you know your numbers, and it doesn't look cool on Instagram, and it's not a cool mulch job, but it is the stuff that you can wake up one day and be at the position in life where now you get to paint the picture of where you want to go, because you're not worried so much about the day-to-day expenses in life. You're worried about, how do I make money with my money? And life doesn't necessarily get easier at that point. I can certainly share that from experience, but I would certainly rather be at the point I'm at now, where that's my struggle, than trying to figure out how to pay bills, or how to price things out, or what people charge for things. I don't really care what other people charge for things. I just charge what I charge for things, and it works out really good for me, and it works out really good for my clients. And it's something I can see all of you doing in the future, and I can see all the success that you're going to have. And know that I believe in you guys. I really, really do. Wow, we got Seth the lawn surgeon in the house, the legend himself. Great to have you, my friend. We got Case Paul. JC says he's still here in Japan. Creekside Lawn Care. What advice would you give a 16-year-old? I would say go find someone that you want to be like when you grow up, and go shadow them for a while. At 16-year-old, you don't have a lot of expenses, overhead probably. You probably have a little bit more free time than someone like myself in their mid to late 30s has. So I would encourage you to... this is what I wish I would have done, is go spend more time following the people I want to be. You're still pretty impressionable at that age, and all those people will probably give away the farm in terms of knowledge. That's what I would do. And also, I guess I follow it up by saying, like, do what you want to do, but like, do listen to the other people that care a lot about you in your life. Don't go live their dream, but maybe listen to why they think your dream sucks. Because I did that when I was younger, and that was very helpful to me, because it definitely, I thought I was really smart when I was 16 or 17 or 18. And I thankfully could have been a lot dumber, but I wasn't that smart. I'm still, like I said earlier, we're all, a lot of us are extremely average. I'm just the average of the average. We got Sergeant Boone Land. We got Dallas Fort Worth Lawn Service. My buddy from the infamous Jobber video in here. Great to see you in here. We got the Green Barber Lawn Service. Joe Mills. We got Lamont saying Fert and Squirt is definitely more efficient with skid sprayers and ride-on sprayers. I totally agree. I totally agree. I have used a Z-Spray in the past. I've got a steel green sprayer spreader now. I agree. Unless you're doing a lot of small stuff or intricate stuff, those type of pieces of equipment pay for themselves pretty quickly, assuming you're pricing the work correctly, which, using that as an example, now you're adding materials into it. You've got equipment and materials. So now you've got to charge everybody for the cost of the materials. And, those materials have not gone down recently, the past couple of years, and so that's made it fun for everybody. If you were charging what you charged a couple of years ago, your profit's going to get squeezed. So Alex says, Mike, I could answer that question on being 16 in the industry if you wanted. Oh, we got Ditch the Itch in here. What's up, Mike? He landed his first air spade job. Congrats, man. That's good stuff. I love me an air spade. Edison wants to see the video. I want to see the video too. That's awesome. We got Psalms Lawn Care. We got Executive Cuts Landscaping, Collars Lawn Care. We got Creekside from Ohio. Yeah, you're not too far away, man. There's a lot of good people. Ohio, Michigan. You got Dylan from Brilliant Gardens. You got the Almonds. You got Scott from Landscapes by Acme. There's a lot of good Ohio resources that I bet you all those people wouldn't mind if you came and hung out for the day. That's and let's see, we got Scott from Landscapes by Acme on here, my man. Let's see. Ditch the itch. The herbicide that I use to treat poison ivy has decreased $100 per 2.5 gallon jug. $100 per 2.5 gallon jug decrease. That's impressive. I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that at all. I haven't gone. I'll say this: the prices haven't gone up a ton this year. Really, some of the stuff seems to have flatlined, but I have yet to see any major decrease. So I guess we're not using the same product. That would be my takeaway on that. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. All right, so we'll wrap things up here. It's went a little longer than I think I planned, but we just had so much great engagement in the chat. So thanks so much for you guys joining and doing that. And, if you guys haven't joined us live, I encourage you to join us on a Monday night here. That way we can get you in and on the show. It's I think it's a great time. I think it's great that we can learn from each other. Learn a lot more from each other, I should say. And what do we got here? Ditch the Itch says, putting liquids away for the impending freeze. Yeah, it's gonna get cold. Especially, I think he lives like 40 minutes north of me in Michigan, which doesn't mean a ton for everybody else, but they do get colder than we do in Detroit, and even I get colder than Metro Detroit does. So the whole urban concrete island of any city retains some heat. That's why if you see on like the evening news, the city's warmer than the suburbs most of the time. So you get out way in the sticks where Austin lives. Yeah, it's gonna get chilly tonight. Probably we went from having the air conditioning running to the heat running in a few days here. This is we have a saying for this in Michigan. In fact, it's pure Michigan. So okay, and Pablo says the herbicide he uses went up close to $100. So see, there you go. And I bet you maybe part of that is like trucking costs, and who knows, maybe the plant that makes it is close to us in Michigan, and then they got to truck it all the way down to Florida where Pablo's at, and so that could be it. That could definitely be it. Edison says, thanks, Mike. All you guys, anytime. I'm glad you guys found this so helpful. Ditch the Itch says, turn on the AC. Yeah, man, I came home the other day and it was like 78 in my house. It was, we were having none of that. It was time to get that air conditioning going, and I think there's actually a little tune-up work we got to get done on the AC, but that's a whole other story, and honestly, none of you probably care about it. But anyway, I want to give you guys an actionable step before we wrap this up. That's something that we promised we'd do with these. Give everybody an actionable step every week. I know last week's was to meditate on whether, scaling would be right for you or not, and I hope people took the time to do that. And this week's actionable step is to put the odds in your favor and to focus on your numbers and how they change, to tune out the noise and use others' prices as a qualifier. In the baseball world, they don't swing at every pitch. They only swing at the pitches they're looking for. And so I encourage you to look for the pitches that you want to swing at, friends. And the ones that you don't want to swing at, they're fine. That's a job for somebody else. You don't have to do all the jobs. You don't have to land all the jobs. You just have to land the profitable jobs for you. And if you do that day after day after day, you will get exactly where you need to be in life. So that's this week's actionable step. Thank you so much for joining us. Me, but us as a platform this week. And next week, we have must-haves to help you have a good season. So hopefully you found this to be a little bit of a must-have, and we'll add to that next week. So thank you so much, friends. Have an awesome week. Take care. Be safe, and we will see you guys on the next one. Take care, everybody.